Today we are talking about my first pick movie for our comedy rotation, Sorry About It, which came out in 2018. So, before we get started, as always, Marty, if you want to start us, just give me initial impressions, because I guess I'm the only one who saw this beforehand. So just no spoilers, initial impressions of the movie. Where are you coming from?
It wasn't a movie that I thought it's completely different than what I was expecting. I have no idea I don't know. It wasn't what I was expecting. That's all I got.
Sureyya, what about you?
I did not like this movie.
We do not accept free thought on this podcast. Well, it was my pick. I liked this movie a lot. When I originally saw it, I think I gave it, a little movie trip on it, I gave it like an 8 or something the first time I saw it. I loved it, and I think it only got better watching it again, personally. So I think when talking about this, it's going to be hard to avoid spoilers, to the point where we might as well just talk with spoilers right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, if you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend watching it before listening. Because otherwise I think this would be a very difficult movie to listen to get talked about. Just jump the line a little bit. Cool. So yeah, so what maybe we should start with would be, what did you guys think of the narrative? Any general thoughts, I guess, about the movie? I have some more granular stuff to talk about, but
I felt like I was on the verge of really understanding what they were going for, but it was also hard to understand the analogy that they went with.
okay.
Wasn't expecting horse people. Not sure what they're saying with that one.
I think that was the big thing that I was upset with when I originally watched this, was I knew about the horse people, because I listened to a podcast talking about this movie, and I was really interested to see your guys' reaction to that reveal, because it's so fucking bonkers.
Yeah, honestly, if they're trying to make a statement, I feel like it kind of derailed.
Okay.
Just in that sense, I don't really know what they're trying to say with that particularly.
Yeah.
I understand the whole, corporate America type mentality that they're trying to, exaggerate, basically.
Yeah.
But, why horses? I can't really tie that into real life, I guess.
Yes, I could see horses being kind of like slave labor. We use horses a shit ton for stuff.
Yeah, it seems like they're throwing on extra points that they didn't have to make, but at the same time with the movie, I've been paranoid if it wasn't for the horse people. I don't know.
Well, I also think, though, that it's a pretty big part of it is that, since it is a comedy and a satire in a lot of ways, a lot of it, in satire, so much of the critique comes from the ridiculous exaggeration.
True.
And sure, we're not at the point yet where we have genetically modified horse people, but, we do have companies where they implant chips in you so that you can pay for things on campus and scan in. Or, there's that whole scandal, which this was actually one of my talking points, that sort of tied in with every time he gets in the elevator, and it says all those really weird things about wanting to massage his muscly brain and smelling his pheromones and shit.
Yeah.
And which one I thought was very funny. But I thought it sort of tied into that recent thing that came out with Activision Blizzard, and how they have started a program where they will pay employees who get pregnant $1 a day to track their pregnancy in an app that they can buy the pregnancy information from, so that they can monitor their pregnancy to make sure they can get back to work sooner after they give birth.
For $1 a day.
$1 a day.
Why would anyone do that? Because it doesn't.
I don't know.
$7 a week.
$7.
Yeah,
You'd have more luck walking around like a grocery store or something and finding change.
Well, and the weird thing about it, let's see if I can find some of the quotes.
But Activision Blizzard would buy it from you, right?
No, they pay you to use the They're not buying the information from you. And it's not even $1 a day. It's $1 per day in gift cards. They just give you a gift card.
For what?
For wow.
I don't know. That's all I've seen. Let's hear. I'm trying to find. Their president gave an interview about it that was extremely creepy. But yeah, so I mean I think it does in some ways sort of tie in more ways than you would sort of think, and that the horse reveal is really exaggerated. But I find the horse people very funny.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sureyya, you didn't like the movie, so what did you think about the horse people?
I thought they were stupid.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all.
What didn't you like about it? I'm just curious.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think it really fit in.
Okay.
And when I first saw the horse people, I immediately just went, oh, they're slaves. And he did coke, so he's hallucinating horses, but they're actually black, or not black people, but people chained up like slaves.
Okay. So you didn't think that they were horse people right away? Like you thought it was in his head,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Okay. So did them being real not make it better to you? Or
Yeah.
or was that stupid to you?
I thought it was stupid.
Okay. I'm just curious.
I really didn't like this movie, and I don't know what about it makes me not like it,
Yeah.
but it did not click for me.
So real quick, before we keep going, I do want to say that what this guy's actual quote was. It was not the CEO, it was the Vice President of Global Benefits, Milt Ezzard. And so he is quoted saying, each time we introduced something, there was a bit of an outcry. Quote, you're prying into our lives, but we slowly increased the sensitivity of stuff, and eventually people understood it's all voluntary. There's no gun to your head, and we're going to reward you if you choose to do it. I want women to have a healthy baby because it's great for our business experience, rather than having a baby who is in the neonatal ICU where she is not able to focus much on work.
So what, if the baby doesn't do too well, she's just fired because she's not going to be productive or something? Is that what he's saying?
That's kind of how it's coming off.
Oh my god.
So I just wanted to clarify what I was talking about there with the really
Bastard.
creepy fucking quotes. And it's a video game company.
What the fuck?
I think that's the problem that I have.
What?
This movie felt really close to real life.
Yeah.
I felt.
You think it was too close?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it made me really uncomfortable. And I felt super anxious during the whole movie.
Yeah, I know, Marty, you said something while we were watching it about how it was kind of making you feel off.
Just overall, the whole vibe of everything was just wrong enough to be sketched out. It kind of feels like you're sitting, someone's trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that same I know you're trying to trick me in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know you're trying to get me.
Or I thought that it kind of feels, it's almost like a fever dream. Because nothing, the way it's made, it doesn't all kind of connect quite right. Like it kind of just goes from scene to scene, and it's like I don't quite know how we got here, but we're here, and now we're on to something else.
I was gonna say the whole movie kind of felt like a montage.
Yeah.
In a way, like a really slow montage.
Yeah, which I think one of my largest complaints about the movie, and because this is the first movie by the music producer Boots Riley.
What else has he done? He's a music producer, you said?
Yeah, I believe that's what he is. Rapper, producer, screenwriter, film director, and activist. So musical career. He founded the political hip hop group The Coup. So he has a very political rap career.
Yeah, he
Hip
does.
hop career. And so then this was his first move into film. And he actually has an album called Sorry to Bother You as well. It looks like that he released in 2012. So he directed this movie and he wrote it. But holy shit is the pacing in this movie terrible. It's an hour and 51 minutes long. And I think it feels like it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
That's another thing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, even both times that I've watched it now, like, once you get to the point where the party starts winding down, it's like, what is this movie doing? Like, where are we going?
Well,
and how long is it going to take us to get there?
Well, after the climax, which is what I would say is when he's meeting fucking Stevie or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he snorted all of what he thought was coke.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Like, that felt like it should have been a lot closer to the end of the movie than it was.
Yeah.
Because then everything went back to normal and nothing bad happened to him. Like, he wasn't pursued or anything.
Yeah.
And, like, they showed the camera footage and everything. And I liked how that, like, helped the company.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was fine with that. The stocks went up, which was, like, that threw me off because that seemed kind of ridiculous at that point.
Okay.
You know, I was expecting, oh, it's on her phone now. Why isn't she a target of something? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because they make it sound like the Left Eyes are like this big group that's against the company.
Mm-hmm.
And the company's just totally fine with them existing.
Yeah.
Can I just say, both movies we watched this weekend have dealt with eyes a lot. And it made me uncomfortable.
We'll get to that at the end.
This is basically. But yeah, and then it just the whole movie after that just died for me. Like, I just did not give a shit.
Yeah, the ending is very sloppy, and it's very rushed, I think, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It doesn't all connect because there is he breaks the scabs at the picket line once, and then they're like, "Hey, we did it. I'm going back to Regal View to be a low telemarketer."
Yeah,
it doesn't
like,
make any
what?
sense. Yeah, and I don't know if it's trying to say that, like, you know, no matter what, you can't really break the system. Like, you're still a part of the system as long as you're there, but it
And
just
you
doesn't.
still have to, like, work.
Yeah,
Do in the world.
but it's said in such an offhanded way that it almost feels like it's not trying to say something like that, and it's just kind of trying to wrap it up. And
That's
it's
kind
not really sure how to.
Yeah, I felt like they got to the big climax, and they're like, "All right, now what do we do?"
Yeah.
You know, so I really just kind of lost interest. I didn't really care after that.
Okay.
I also really hated the, like, sub-romance plot between Glenn and the chick.
Yeah.
That wasn't needed.
Between Steve Yeun and Tessa Thompson.
And
Yeah.
how, like, it ended up just being fine. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
like,
I will.
What?
I will say, I didn't like that the first time, but the second time, I think I got the point of it a little bit more.
Tell me.
And I'm not trying to say that like you guys just don't get it. I'm just saying what I took away. I don't want to come off like a pompous ass.
watching it for the first time, I didn't miss shit.
So what I was thinking, because the big thing that put it together for me that I didn't catch the first time was during Tessa Thompson's art show, which I'd also like to talk about later. She uses a white voice because she has a British accent.
Yeah.
And in the cast, there's an actress listed as her white voice. It's the girl from Baby Driver, whose name I can't remember, Lily James. And so what I think the whole point of that romance is, and her kind of them breaking up, and then her going with Stephen Yeun, and then coming back to him, is I think it's trying to say that she's no better than Cash is, because Cash is doing everything for the money, right? Like, he betrays his friends and takes the promotion and starts working with the company and sells slave labor for money. So he's selling out for money. But on the flip side, she is selling out for ideals that don't really mean anything. Because, like, she doesn't care about who Cash is. She doesn't care about who Steve is. She cares about what they believe in.
True. Yeah.
Like, that's all she cares about. She's like, oh, now you're doing the political stuff that I like. Now I'm back with you.
It's like making statements for the sake of making statements.
Yeah. And she doesn't care who you are as a person. She just loves that they agree with her, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, there's even that argument when they're in bed in, like, their nice apartment where she freaks out at him and he's like, you didn't care. Like, you're living with me. We got all this fucking money. Why is this a problem all of a sudden now? So that's kind of what I took away from it. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but...
Yeah, I could really see it. I mean, it's... Because she's made out originally just to be like, you know, oh, fuck yeah, they're the good guys, right? You know, they're fighting the man.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, what are they accomplishing? What are they really
Yeah.
doing? You know, they said you're fighting, but what are they fighting for?
Yeah. And I think a big part of it too that clicked for me was the art show, because I was trying to think, what is the purpose of the art show? Because I think one thing that I do like and really respect about this movie is everything is very thought out, and everything seems to have a point, at least, that Boots Riley is trying to make, or trying to sort of comment on. So I was curious what you guys thought about her art show.
Well, normally I like to think that, I have like a creative kind of conscious mind.
Yeah.
But that kind of performance art stuff always seemed like pretentious to me.
Okay.
Like it's done for the sake of appearing progressive.
Okay.
And I know that's not always the case or not always the intentions.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more about looking like you're making a statement than actually making a statement.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just the only thing that stuck with me through this is how, like, what's she even really saying, Because, all her art exhibits were all about, like, Africa, it's big, and stuff comes from it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, the depth we got from her.
Yeah.
And what was she trying to say about Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get, she mentioned, like, like in the Congo, the raw materials being, like, like mined and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
basically, Africa and the Congo being exploited for these materials, which is a totally valid, relevant, real life, concern.
Yeah.
But what was she trying to do about it? What was she saying about it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand if she was having any kind of practical point to the demonstration.
Sorry, did you have any thoughts on the art exhibit?
Not really. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it, Marty. Especially since I was kind of looking at it just sort of from the perspective of that Detroit's full of shit. Especially...
Like the city Detroit?
Why not both? Porque no los dos? And I thought that it really... I think what really sells it is that she's quoting The Last Dragon.
I didn't understand the excerpt she was taking.
Yeah, so The Last Dragon is a 80s kung fu movie starring what's his name? Mac, I think. He was like a black actor. So it was sort of this. It's a bit of a cult hit now, but it's not very good. And I think really that it is sort of just punctuate the fact that this is all bullshit, and like she's, because like why would you quote The Last Dragon?
Say again, it's like obscure artsiness for the sake of it.
Yeah, and it's such a, like, okay, so you're going to, so in your art piece about black culture and black suffering, right, you are going to quote a movie about a black actor in a kung fu movie? Like, it just doesn't mesh at all. And it's such, and the quote doesn't seem to mean anything.
It's like if ska was performance art.
Don't go attacking ska, Marty. We can't handle that backlash.
Sorry, we live in Madison.
Now we're gonna get doxxed by all the ska people.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I think I definitely got the same sort of vibe from it that you did, Marty. And one thing too that I wanted to ask you about, Sureyya, since you were on the negative side with this movie, which I think is completely valid, by the way. I think I knew going into this that I didn't expect both of you to like it, and I expect.
You said that you thought I was gonna really like it.
I thought you would really like it. I thought Marty would hate it. So I was wrong. But I think that this is a movie that really goes for something, and if it doesn't click, or it just doesn't vibe with you, I think it's very easy, or actually, I think it's very hard to get invested. style or what it was going for, it would just be boring as all hell to sit through.
Well, watching this movie, I had watched. Well, this movie made it seem like it was. Have you ever seen the movie Bamboozled by Spike Lee? So, that whole movie is. I don't know how to describe it. It's like black people turning back on who they are to become white, I guess. And it's like the same. I felt like it had the same atmosphere as Bamboozled.
Okay.
And I really didn't like Bamboozled.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt. I don't know. They're. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I have no thoughts. I don't have
And
thoughts.
that's the kind of movie I thought it was just from seeing the trailers for it.
Yeah.
Is that I thought it was going to be just another generic movie, like, oh, black people need to be more like white people to succeed. This is a political statement. But like that's actually seeing it, I feel like that still was part of it, but it took a lot of turns that kind of drove it away from that. Even if it's talking about the same, even if it's still like focusing on that theme, they kind of went a direction with it that I wasn't expecting. And I don't know if I like it, but it wasn't as, I think, black and white. Not trying to be, funny or whatever. It wasn't as like clear cut as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, which I like. I think even someone like you, sir, who doesn't like it, I would hope that there still could be an appreciation for how it is trying something. Right? Because I don't think I've ever seen a movie quite like this.
No.
And I think what I really like about it is that, because I think it has a lot of problems. I don't think it's a perfectly done movie by any means, but I like that there is a clear creative voice of Bruce Riley in the movie, and it has a clear purpose, and it's very different from anything else on the market right now.
I feel like it's like, a way of expressive art. It was very successful, even if it wasn't like a good movie.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it was something that's unique, and it did seem like it was like one person's like vision. Instead of just trying to be like, let's make a movie that we like to put. It's like a lot of movies nowadays. The creators and the directors and the producers are all like, okay, yeah, we want to make a statement so that way the movie has like a foundation, but we're also going to try and water it down to be very easy to digest.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to be able to understand it and back it up.
Yeah.
And this movie, I feel like, didn't try to cliche itself to win audiences, which is why I think a lot of people might not like it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's very, it doesn't really, I don't think it cares much about who's watching it. It's just like, well, this is what I want to look at, this is what I want to talk about, and I'm just going to do that. Yeah. And if you don't like it, well, just fuck off. Then it's not for you.
So, I can say I probably don't want to watch it again, but I respect it.
Okay. That is very fair.
I did like some of the editing they had in it.
Okay, yeah. Do you have any positives about the movie?
The scene where he and Tessa Thompson are making out, and they like fall into bed, and then the whole bed scene just kind of starts changing.
Yeah, and
while
then like
they're still
the
laying
TV falls in half, and like a bigger TV folds
Yeah,
out and stuff.
yeah. That was cool. And then there was the scene where he was by himself, and then like we couldn't really tell if it was like a day and night cycle.
Oh, but like the light was changing on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It almost looked like just fancy high-tech rich person lighting.
Yeah, and it kind of seemed like it was going with the music that was going on, but not completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, I definitely like a lot of the filmmaking. I really like when he's actually doing the telemarketer calls and like his desk falls through
Yeah,
the
I
ceiling
like that too.
into whatever the person's doing. And like there's the one woman having sex that answers the phone.
Yeah.
And There's like the Japanese dude on the toilet, and he's like sitting real close to his face.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the camera work I actually like. I mentioned even just that like real long, of depth of field change.
Yeah.
Like that had to be in a fucking long ass lens. But so I like stuff like that, and even as weird as it is, I actually really like that orgy shot because it was such a fucking contrast to like the uppers that he was having.
Yeah.
And they somehow made the scene almost like still ominous.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the ridiculous foreground.
Yeah.
And then how it's like all the lighting was all dark, more like red and dark blues, and then he was just behind the in the lit up doorway.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden everything was like clean and fancy and proper, which is like a really big contrast to the foreground. So there was a lot of shots like that I actually really appreciated.
Yeah, I think especially for this being Boots Riley's first film, I think it's really impressive as far as filmmaking goes, especially considering that he's a music guy, and he didn't go to film school. It's not like he has a bunch of music videos out there, that he directed, or like TV shows or anything. Like this is it. This is the first time he got behind a camera and made a commercial product. And I think it's really impressive what he accomplished, even though a lot of it doesn't work.
Well, it seems like he had the vision for the art, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like the scene with the lighting and everything. I mean, that probably was, intentional because of his background. And like even like when he was, up on the stairs and they're making him rap and everything. I feel like a lot of those scenes, honestly, I feel like were drawn from his music producing side. And,
yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I thought
his performing sides.
I thought the music was really good in it too. Especially there's like that ethereal sort of music that hits when like some of the weird stuff starts happening. And I don't know, I really like that song for some reason. I'm not particularly sure why, but that one just really resonates with me each time. Let's see. Also, I was curious what you guys thought about the one show that he goes on. I got the shit kicked out of me.
I don't know, man.
I didn't like that.
Like,
no?
I get TV's really stupid now,
Mm-hmm.
and catering to the lowest common denominator. But that's just an extra statement, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that is one problem this movie has, is that it's really juggling too much. I think that it wants to say. Like, I appreciate how much everything has a point and how much everything's allegorical in a way, but everything. There's like 20 different topics that it's trying to cover, and a lot of them are kind of like introduced and then divert and are never really talked about.
But it's like he tried to put all of his, visions into the one movie, as though like he would never have a chance to say anything again.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, this might be my only shot. I'm going to put everything that I want to say into this one thing, even if it isn't cohesive.
Yeah.
It's like, someone says, all right, explain your entire thing in like 1 minute. And but you have like 10 things to say. So you're like, okay, a little bit of this, but you might not really get into depth on any of them.
Yeah. It's like when we do our erotic fan fiction show.
Yeah. I have so much vision, but not enough time.
We only have 45 minutes to write. How am I going to get to the second sex scene? So I was also curious what you guys thought about the inclusion, and there's so much focus put on his YouTube fame from the have a Coke bitch, or have a soda bitch, whatever it is that they say. I didn't really like that, personally, either time. It kind of felt like it was relying too much on that one joke, and just kind of kept bringing it up and trying to make it funny again.
Yeah, I didn't care at all.
And some of it was funny, when like it's the old lady showing you how to make a have a Coke bitch wig on TV and stuff.
Yeah.
But especially towards the end, it's like every 3 minutes somebody's talking about it. And even if you wanted to take it, in the direction of, we only care about seeing people hurt, and that's how you get famous, is from suffering, and that's what people want to watch. You already have the show, I just got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah.
So really, what's this soda thing bringing to the table?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a way to cater to millennials, so they can relate to the game show thing or something.
I feel like it would have been a better choice to leave out the TV show and then just keep the YouTube stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Especially because it did feel like the whole YouTube thing possibly could have had a little bit more meaning to it than the TV show. Especially when you start doing like a socio-political reading of how he's getting hit with fucking literal consumerism right in the head and he's bleeding constantly.
I feel like there was stuff that can be said about it for sure, but like just in the context of the rest of the movie, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to focus on what he's trying to say with that now. Because I feel like that's like a minor point. It's like, okay, I get it. You're trying to say that. Let's focus on the main idea here.
Because it's like you have his main point of like late stage capitalism and how it just consumes workers and doesn't treat them properly. And that's, I think, very well developed, pretty well explored. It's pretty deep. But then you have all those side things that are just so shallow. And it's like, what? Does it really add anything? Like, I like the world of the movie and how it kind of builds. Like, I mean, the first time you see I got the shit kicked out of me on the TV, I think it's really funny. Yeah. Because like the channel changes, the dude just gets wailed in the face with a bat as the camera's panning away. And it looks cheap. Like just the whole show looks like it's filmed in some dude's garage. Yeah. And it's the biggest show on television, but it just feels so unfocused at the core of it, and I think that's really detrimental.
Yeah, because I think everything, you can make an argument for what he was trying to say with all of those, but it just, I don't feel like was the right context to try and make those arguments.
Yeah, and especially, I think it also really exacerbates the film's problem of feeling really long. When it's constantly going on these little tangents that don't really go anywhere, and then you have to like readjust your focus back to the main point, and it just seems so bloated.
Yeah.
Something else I kind of wanted to talk about though was when he first starts at Regal View, and Donald Glover is next to him, and he's talking about how you're not selling people the product, you're selling people your own happiness, and like that fake happiness of how you don't have a worry in the world, and they want to be like you. I was kind of curious what you guys thought of that, and that sort of comment on capitalism and selling people things.
Well, I see, and I was really hoping it would kind of focus more on that kind of stuff, because I think that's the closest kind of, I guess, comparison with the real world.
Okay.
That I can really like get behind, in the sense that if you're trying to make an argument for consumerism and capitalism being detrimental to society, I feel like that's probably what hits closest to home. Yeah. Because, I mean, I feel like you can relate with trying to sell stuff. I mean, everyone has worked some shitty retail job, for example, and are expected to sit there and smile and wave and, provide a good customer experience. Yeah. And you're supposed to basically, like, turn off your life for this small amount of happiness to other people, Like, today, for example, I ran into the fucks from Spectrum at Walmart again. Yeah. And I see them every single time trying to sell us that shit. Yeah. And they're all like, hello, mind if I bother you today, sir? It's basically like the same fucking thing as telemarketing, except in person. And, that's not, they have lives. That's not what they want to do. That's not who they are. And they're trying to pretend like they're happy to sell me fucking charter internet at a Walmart.
That we already have.
And my dad works for them anyway, and they're already an evil corporation. So, so that's the thing, like it's such an obvious facade. Yeah. And even like these telemarketers with their fake, white voices trying to sound like everything's perfect. And if you buy this product, you can be like me. Yeah. Like we can see through it and stuff, like with the guys at Walmart. And most people can, but there's a lot of people out there that, they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I buy into that. Yep. He sounds happy, and sounds like he has his life together. Yeah. And it's just, it's mind-blowing to me, honestly. Like, people are so desperate for some tiny bit of, like, happiness, where they want to feel good about themselves and their decisions, that they're willing to, like, start listening to other people as their primary source of self-motivation and self-care. I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but, like, it feels the most dystopian to me.
Yeah. Did that strike you at all, Sureyya? Anything with him? Nothing to say?
I have nothing to
Good discussion. Sorry.
No, honestly, I don't blame you.
I kind of lost interest at the beginning of the movie where they're in the garage and he's like, "Do you ever think about death?"
So like the opening
The
scene of
opening.
the movie.
Yeah. I lost it there.
Why?
Because I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I think about the fact that, we all die eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually after that, our kids die. Our great grandkids die. And after that, the planet dies.
Yeah.
And just every planet dies. And then I just go into this existential crisis. And it freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah, well,
I don't like thinking about it.
That's the point, though. Because like we've had this discussion, I think, like on one of our like really early podcasts. I think after the graduate even.
Yeah.
And that's really the thing is that we all have to find some kind of way to exist despite of the pointlessness of it all.
Yeah.
And that's like a prime foundation of consumerism and capitalism is that how do we find meaning in life? And some people who don't want to think about it, if they're feeling upset about something, maybe they'll just go buy something. It'll make me feel good for a while. It'll distract me.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just has to wake up and go to their boring ass telemarketing jobs and retail jobs and stuff like that for what? So they can make money, so they can buy stuff to like just survive, and then any extra money they have, they can use to buy stuff to try and give their life meaning, or at least the semblance of meaning.
Yeah.
So I think it just really kind of ties it all together because that's kind of the root foundation of most society. I think is just trying to find like a reason for existence.
Yeah.
Because it's not like anyone tells us why we're here. Why society is the way it is.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to find something to grasp onto to give them meaning, and if some people are like, they live to work. Their entire existence is basically around their job because it gives them a sense of accomplishment. Like all the people like being told to be power
callers.
Power callers. Like, man, if I'm a power caller, I achieved something. I'm doing something important. Like when he was in bed, like yelling at her, he was talking about how like he finally feels like he's doing something. Like he's making a difference. He's influencing people, even if it's not good. And that just really ties into the whole like people are desperate for something, even if it's like as mundane as a job or just buying something or going on a game show. Like, I'm gonna get the shit kicked out of me or whatever.
Yeah.
People are trying to find just anything to try and hold on to, even if it's not really something you want to hold on to.
Yeah. I just felt like it's too real for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I think about that shit all the time.
Well, and especially to start the movie with it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't blame either of you for not having much to say when I kind of was like, hey, we're going to watch a comedy, and then I dropped this heady fucking load of bullshit on you guys today. And I was like, let's talk about it. So did you guys have any other closing thoughts? Otherwise, I was thinking we could keep this one a little short because there's something else I want to talk about.
Yeah, it'd be good
as
for
well.
Is it Game of Thrones?
It is not Game of Thrones, but we do have to watch that tonight, too. Closing thoughts, Marty, on Sorry to Bother You.
I think I wish I was able to grasp exactly what I was trying to say more than just the vibe.
Yeah.
Because I was getting close, and I felt like I could relate, but I couldn't pin anything down.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm happy that I had something to say, even if I didn't quite grasp it yet.
Okay. For me personally, I think it's definitely a bit of a sloppy film. But I kind of like that about it, and I like how it is imperfect. It is very real feeling. Like it's not the perfectly polished, like Marvel movie,
right?
Or something like it's very clear that it's almost like the like when a new band starts and you get your first album.
It's more honest.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, clearly you had something. It's raw. You may not have done it all great, but at least you tried.
You had something to say.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see if Boots Riley does any other movies. I'd love to see how he grows as a filmmaker. I think personally I would keep my 8 out of 10 that I gave it originally. I don't know if you wanted to put a number to it.
6 or 7 maybe, but I might change that if I ever watch it again. So.
Okay. Sureyya, your closing thoughts.
I didn't really like it. I don't think I want to watch it again.
Okay.
I felt like it was really heavy-handed, personally,
Yeah.
and I wasn't in the greatest mood to start off with watching
Yeah.
this movie anyway, so, yeah.
So what number would you give it?
Like a 4 or 5.
Okay. That's fair. I will also say, watching it a second time, it is a bit less captivating. When you kind of see where it's going, and the very slow pacing kind of starts slogging it down.
Because then you're starting to realize, why am I sitting through this?
Yeah, yeah. All right. So then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that the sorry's not gonna be happy about this. The first teaser for Star Wars Episode 9 came out.
I didn't see it.
No, I didn't say it. Don't plan on it.
That's fine because I didn't want to talk about the teaser. I think we are planning on doing, leading up to it, a full review of all the Star Wars movies.
I am looking forward to that next Star Wars.
I have a very complicated relationship with Star Wars.
I'm gonna have a really good time for the original trilogy, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, so it comes out December 20th, so probably, the month leading up to it, we'll watch a fuck ton of Star Wars and talk about it a lot. Sureyya can miss a couple episodes if she has to, because she can't stomach all of it. I wanted to talk about, this is going to be a short discussion, but I'm pissed off about it. I wanted to talk about the name, Star Wars Episode 9. Have either of you heard the official title?
No.
Okay. So let's go over all of the Star Wars titles.
Last Jedi.
Oh, it's worse. It is honestly, it is so bad. I was talking to someone at work about it, and I said this title as a joke, and it's the real title. So, started off with just Star Wars, obviously, but then it eventually turned into A New Hope. And then you have Empire Strikes Back, and then you have Return of the Jedi. Right? All pretty good titles.
It explains what's happening in the movie.
Yeah, makes sense. Short, concise, unique. There's no Star Wars Reloaded. Like it stands out.
And you have the prequels.
Yep. And then you have Phantom of Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. Worse,
I like Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace is good. The one thing I don't like about Phantom Menace is that episodes 2 and 3, their names kind of mirror the names of episode 5 and 6. Episode 1 doesn't really at all. And the Phantom Menace ends up being like, because they killed Darth Maul right away. We'll save that for the podcast about it. Yeah. And then you have the spin-offs, which all have awful fucking names. Solo, A Star Wars Story, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, which are both terrible names. Especially Solo. And then you have Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Okay, I'm gonna give both of you a guess what the title for Episode 9 is.
Yeah, that's a really broad question.
So I'll give you...
That's it.
No, it's not just Episode 9. It doesn't actually say anywhere on here. I'm not looking at the screen right now, as we're recording. So I'll give you a brief description of the teaser. See if maybe that helps you. So it starts off with Rey standing in the desert, and she's fucking monologuing about being a Jedi.
You know what? I did see that.
Yeah, and then she turns on her lightsaber, and then a TIE fighter, Kylo Ren's TIE fighter comes flying, and she jumps over it. No, that would actually be kind of interesting. So she jumps over it, and then it shows all the characters, and there's some slow-mo fighting, and then it cuts to black, as Luke is saying, no one's ever really gone, and then Emperor Palpatine laughs. And then it's which I fucking hate.
Yeah, because I don't want that.
Because then we now have 9 fucking movies about this vast universe with all these cool Jedi and all this extended
And he's
lore.
coming back to the same fucking people.
Yeah, and it's 4 people in a family completely at the center of the universe of politics. And it did come out that they consulted George Lucas for the script on this one. And that he gave them, like, J.J. Abrams worked with him for sort of large scope ideas.
Did he just want focus on
I
Skywalker?
was
Nobody knows.
George Lucas is not known for his good script writing, considering his wife had to completely rewrite the original trilogy.
Yeah.
His wife rewrote his own script.
Oh,
She did like heavy editing, and that's the only reason why it was even remotely successful.
and the first Star Wars was fucking garbage. In that movie, lived and died in the editing room. Like, the editor of Star Wars completely saved it. Otherwise, it would have been complete garbage. Yeah, there's whole documentaries.
You can find like some early versions of Hearts.
It's fucking awful. Yeah, and they are now advertising this one as the end of the saga.
Yeah, okay.
So they're saying, they announced that they're going to take a couple of years off of any Star Wars movies. I mean, they're still doing like the shows on Disney Plus, like The Mandalorian and that kind of stuff. But so the apparent idea that Disney's going for is that this is going to be episode 9 and this ends it, right? So like you can watch 1 through 9 and it's one huge story arc, and then in a couple of years they'll come back with something new, I guess.
So like hopefully it's something that's like on the other fucking side of the galaxy.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with like the Empire.
Which is what I wanted from episode 7. I wanted it to be like, give me all new planets, just keep Jedi, Sith, I don't fucking care. Like, I want entirely new characters. Because the world, Star Wars has potential to be cool if you don't make it a Star Wars movie.
Well, like all the games that came out like the mid 2000s
Yeah.
and stuff, early 2000s, is they touched on areas of the universe that weren't part of the main story arc.
Mm-hmm.
And they were way more interesting than
Oh,
those
yeah.
ever were.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to rant about that because I was pissed off. I guess now we can talk about anything that we've watched lately real quick. I know, Sureyya, you already brought up, we watched The Grudge yesterday. Marty, I know it was your first time watching The Grudge. What'd you think of it?
I was thoroughly spooked.
You
Wait,
were spooked?
that was your first time watching it?
Yes.
That was everybody's first time except for you and me. Nobody else there.
What the fuck?
Like the 6 of us.
Well, I haven't really gotten into horror movies until like a couple years ago, and it just never really popped up on the radar.
Oh my god.
So did you like it though?
I did.
Okay, that's good.
It gave me a lot of time. I was squinting a lot.
I was sitting with my fingers covering my ear holes for like 95%
Most
of the
horror
movie.
movies, I end up just turning into a comedy. This one was like, okay, it's a little much for me to try and laugh off.
Yeah.
That's what I did love was, as we were watching it, because we had our friend Chris there too, and it was like, it started off with a lot of jokes, and then it started getting to shit, and there was not any jokes.
Well, 'cause it's not a lot of things scare me. But
Yeah.
it touched on a couple primal fears.
Like what?
Like, I hate things that are fast, for one. Which, I mean, this wasn't necessarily fast, but there's... We'll get to that. I don't like things that are crawly around the ceiling-y,
Okay.
because that creeps me out. Or, like, when her head was in the doorway,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, that was a big one. Just stuff coming out of the dark like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you think of it? What, going back?
So I have been into horror movies for a very long time. My dad kind of raised me on horror movies. I fucking loved this movie when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that shit scares the shit out of me. Watching it this time now, though, I didn't like it as much as I used to,
Yeah.
and I was really sad that I didn't like it as much.
I was in the same boat as you. Growing up, I had 3 distinct horror movie experiences in my life. 4. Actually, I had 4. I had Jaws 2 when I was very young, and I would lay at the top bunk of my bunk bed, and I would see Jaws coming up and eating me out of the floor.
As it does.
Yep. So that was like my first exposure of being terrified of a horror movie. Then I saw Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and I got scared of the alien.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. But, I mean, not really when it's Requiem.
No.
But I was still pretty young. And then I had The Grudge. which scared the living shit out of me. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with Japanese people?
The Japanese are fucked up, man.
And then I had Sinister.
Oh, Sinister.
That also scared the shit out of me, and that was like early high school.
I forgot what was Sinister.
That was the Ethan Hawke one where there's he moves to a house to write about some dead people.
Oh yeah.
And there's like the old Norse god that steals children and then makes them murder their parents.
Like, if you want to know what's scary to me, is not necessarily the movie specifically, but that concept is Mama.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like fast things. I don't think like things with stretched out mouths and lanky arms.
Oh, you would hate Legion then.
Because like that might have been a movie I was thinking about for a long time
With
actually.
the grandma that crawls on the
Yeah.
And then the weird ice cream man that turns into like a fucking spider.
Because there's that. Oh, that's what it's from. Okay, because
Yeah.
I've had that scene in my head, but I couldn't remember what it was
Yeah.
from. But no, the one movie that stands out to me that I watched recently, it wasn't a good movie, but there was one scene that scared the shit out of me, and it was like a Blair Witch knockoff. It wasn't Blair Witch 2 or anything. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
Deborah Logan.
No, that wasn't Deborah Logan. That
Not
was just
that one?
another spooky one.
Oh,
But, it was these kids. They found the found footage stuff. It was the sequel to some other movie that was basically just a generic found footage one.
Okay.
They found it and they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go back there, and basically recreate the footage and find the same shit. It's like Blair Witch, but it's like a different bad guy in a different house.
Yeah.
And there's this one scene they're coming down a hallway and there's this like really like it like fills the hallway. It has like a broken, stretched out jaw and everything, and it's like crawling on all the walls straight down at him.
Oh god.
And it scared the piss out of me. And I
Dude.
can't remember what it's from because it was a shitty knockoff movie.
Yeah.
So it's not big enough to just Google.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
I know you said it wasn't Blair Witch, but that sounds a hell of a lot like Blair Witch 2.
It's basically Blair Witch 2, but
Book of Shadows or whatever.
Did all the kids like
I bought
die
that.
by some like physical person? Like it was like a person at the end. It wasn't like the witch.
In the Blair Witch remake, it was a person in the end.
Was it? Where
Yeah.
he had like there was like the one dude left at the end, and then
Yeah,
like,
that one was very recent though.
was it?
Yeah.
Like because I watched it in like 2016.
That's about around when the Blair Witch remake came out.
Maybe it was that actually, because
Well, the Blair Witch remake though, it was kind of like a creature. That was 2016 though.
I'll have to take a look and find out. But yeah,
We'll just watch that.
Oh, I would not recommend it. That movie's awful.
we should watch Mama for the work.
Yeah, I think for me, going back to Grudge, I had a hard time getting past the weird pacing and the horrible acting.
Yeah, the acting was not good, especially Buffy the Vampire Slayer's boss.
Yeah, he was awful.
He reminds me of the gay priest from Letterkenny.
Oh, you caught me. I work here in Japan too.
Oh, howdy doodly.
Sorry, is there anything else you watched? Watched or played, I guess.
No.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I think we
I
could
think so.
discuss what our next
No!
movie is.
You did watch something when I was watching Punch Drunk Love. You watched that Happy Show from Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh yeah. That's a weird show. That's a real
Is it
weird
the one where
show.
all the adults being 8th graders? Is that what you're talking about?
No, this one has. I think it's a dude from the Law and Order.
Yeah, it's like based off a comic book where there's like a cartoon imaginary unicorn.
yeah,
It's
I
like
know what you're
hyper
talking
violent.
Yeah. The first episode was really good, and then I watched the second episode, and it kind of just took a grinding halt, I felt. So I don't know if I'm going to keep watching that.
Gotcha.
And then I watched Punk Truck Love, like I just said, which I might pick if we ever do roommates.
Cool.
So I won't talk about it much. Marty, what movie are we watching for next week?
In Bruges.
In Bruges.
I love it.
I have never ever seen In Bruges.
I've heard of it.
It's really funny to me. I mean, it's a really sad movie, but it's really funny.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And Brendan Gleeson.
Yep.
So, Christmas Story. Should one who killed a child be allowed to live? Harry Waters, a London thug, sends Irish hitmen Ken and Ray to Bruges to lie low after a job goes awry in a London church. Ken's the old hand, fascinated by the medieval with a fatherly attitude toward Ray, who's young and bored but chaste. Jesus Christ, this description. All right.
I wouldn't bother. It's funny.
Okay. It doesn't sound funny, but I'll take your word for it.
It's funny in a really fucked up way.
Okay. All right. Oh, is that
Like how many tries?
that's Voldemort there? Ralph Fiennes.
Yep.
He's in it too. Cool.
He's
I like
scary as shit.
reference.
All right. Okay. So we'll be back next Monday after watching In Bruges. Thank you for listening. You can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes as Deus Ex Cinema, and you can find us on Instagram and YouTube as the Default White Guys. I think we're going to go watch Game of Thrones now. Well, some of us, not Marty.
Now have a great night and thanks for calling.